Welcome back to 30 Gap. My name's Nick Wilkins,
My name is Jackson Wilkins.
and we're back to discuss a few things that are on our mind over the last couple days. First, you can see my hat. We're both Red Sox fans, and the Red Sox all have won 30 of their last 35 games, so we're going to keep that trend going moving forward. But we're not going to talk about the Red Sox today. We are going to talk about some changes in Major League Baseball. One of them this year is the replay system when it comes to strikes and balls. Jackson, what is your thoughts on this, and what do you think it's working this year? Do you think it's something that we should continue? Should they expand it? What are your thoughts?
I think it is working this year because the players are using it, and some are getting most of them right. But I think as the years go on, we need to get umpires still back there, but they use ABS on every single call, and because this year there has been 7,164 challenges, and 3,836 of them were correct, and the rest wrong. And that's 50% of them right. So getting 50% of the calls wrong is not good for the umpires in the MLB today.
I would agree. I think it's been a great system for Major League Baseball. On average, umpires get 95% of their calls correct. The problem is 20% of those calls are around the area where the ball is either inside the strike zone or outside the strike zone, and on those 20%, they're only getting 50% of those correct, which is where these come into account. So per game, that's 15 calls per team that the umps are getting wrong. And with this system, this would allow us to get every call correct. I know there's some standard deviation as far as when it's maybe a 0.5% wrong here and there, but overall I think it makes the game better. I also don't understand why if we can get the call right, why would we not to? I know there's some baseball purists out there who would say, well, the umpire is part of the game. Well, if we can get it right, let's get it right from that standpoint. So, and that takes us into the next topic that we want to talk about, and that is replay in all of professional sports, whether it's tennis, whether it's hockey, whether it's soccer, whether it's the NBA, whether it's Major League Baseball, whatever it may be, replay in that. And one of the things we talk a lot about is it gets really tiresome watching the managers or the coaches look over their shoulder and wait for their video coordinator or their replay guy to tell them whether to challenge or not. What do you think about this? Do you think this would be something they should keep, allow them to keep getting a view of the video before, or do they just have to challenge right away and move on?
I think they should keep letting them look at it because then they'd get more calls right. And for NBA, I like NBA more than any other sport, and they give no time to them, and that's why they get most of their challenges wrong and don't challenge as much. And they can get more calls right in the NBA, and have teams like the Thunder who are getting accused of just getting favored by all the calls stop getting favored.
So I disagree. I think that they should not be allowed to have their coaches look at it. I think it should be just like the strikes and balls in baseball, where they, within a 1 to 2 second time frame, they have to challenge it. I believe that's the same situation in tennis. I do believe in hockey and in soccer that these challenges are all come from up in the press box. So these aren't done by coaches. So if they want to go away from this, they already have it in the NBA where there's a central location for these replays to happen. Why would we not let them do all the replays? And I get that might slow down the game a little bit or whatnot, but either coaches need to challenge it immediately, or it just needs to go to one central system. Coaches don't have the option. So I think that's where I would go with it because I'm sick and tired of waiting for the coaches to look and then we continue on from the game and it delays it that way too. So anything else you want to add on those two topics there?
No.
Okay. All right, so we're going to change it up a little bit here for our last topic of tonight. We're going to go to our top 5 comedies of all time when it comes to movies. And being that this is a completely different generation, we've got some similar. We've got some that Jackson has never seen before on my list. So we want to talk about that. But before we go into that, I just want to mention that we've left some really good ones off. We left Super Troopers off. We left Old School off. We left Caddyshack off. So we've left some really good comedies off. And I think that's what made it so tough for us to find the top 5 in ours. So Jackson, I'll let you take it away with your number 5.
My number 5 of top comedies of all time is Dumb and Dumber 2. And my favorite.
Whoa, wait a second. Dumb and Dumber 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so the second movie is never as good as the first.
I never seen the first one.
Well, I guess that's on me that you haven't seen the first one. Okay, so I failed in that, so we're going to watch the first one. So go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
My number 5 is Dumb and Dumber 2. And my favorite scene in that movie is where Travis tries to kill Lloyd and Harry he tries to shoot them, but then he gets hit by the train, and then Lloyd and Harry think that he tried to steal their car and don't know that they got ran over by a train. And in Dumb and Dumber, the characters are really funny, and I like how dumb they act.
Hence the name.
Yeah. And my favorite character is being Harry, because at the beginning of the movie, he was acting like he was paralyzed and couldn't move. And for 20 years, he was doing that.
All right. My number 5 is Tommy Boy. Chris Farley's fantastic in this movie. You know, he had a lot of great movies, unfortunately, before he passed away, but this one's one of his best, if not his best. A couple of scenes I really love about this movie. One would be when he's singing to Richard with Richard's coat on, and he sings "Fat Guy in a Little Coat." That is hilarious. The other one is when he's in the cafe, they're eating, and he wants to order chicken wings, and they say the fryer's turned off, so he can't have them, and he goes in this big spiel about it, and then he ends up destroying a bun, I think is what it is, which is a fantastic scene. And then the last one I really enjoy is when he's giving his brake pad spiel to somebody, and he takes this guy's toy car and rams it together and then lights it on fire. And the guy just says, "Get out." So fantastic movie, and that's number 5 on my list.
You go number 4, and then I'll go number 5.
All right, number 4 on my list is Anchorman. Will Ferrell's fantastic. He always has very some of the same actors in all of his movies. I thought Christina Applegate was great in this as well. A couple of my favorite scenes in this one was when the alley fight took place between all the different news stations. I thought that was really good. Another one was when they were singing "Afternoon Delight" to each other. So that was fantastic. And then finally, one of my favorite parts throughout the whole entire movie is all the different signing off statements that Ron Burgundy says, because he will say anything that comes on the teleprompter, and so as they change it throughout it, or they put a question mark or whatnot, the way he ends his newscast is really good. So that's my number 4, Anchorman.
My number 4 is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And my favorite scene from that movie is when Clark is putting up the Christmas lights, and then he falls off the ladder, and the ladder comes down, and Rusty just stares there and looks at him while he has the tangled lights in his hand. And I like this movie because their whole family comes to Clark's house, and nothing goes right for them all week. And at the end of the week, still nothing's going right, and they all were just about to go home. And then Eddie, his weird cousin or brother, came to his house with his boss and had him tied up, and the cops came, and they finally got Clark's boss to give him a raise so they could buy a pool. And I thought that was funny because it took him a whole movie to give him a raise.
Your number 3?
My number 3 is Home Alone, and my favorite scene is when Kevin sets all the traps up, but then after they fell for all the traps, and Kevin outsmarted them by putting all the traps there, and then they finally caught him, and then the old guy with the shovel that was getting salt all over for the ice came and hit Marv and Harry in the head and saved Kevin. And then I like this movie because Kevin is a little kid who outsmarts 2 burglars that break into his house, and when his parents get home, he didn't tell them anything that happened. And in this movie, Kevin also accepts that his parents left him at home and he's going to be by himself for a whole week, and goes and buys himself groceries, and tells the people at the grocery store that his parents just sent him in, and the lady thought that he was by himself, but he just told him that he wasn't.
Very good. My number 3 is Napoleon Dynamite. This is a really good movie. I think it takes at least 2 or 3 times to watch it to really understand the humor of it. I know the first time I watched it, I thought it was one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen. But now I've watched it 20 plus times, and it's just fantastic, and still recite some of the lines. Some of my favorite scenes would be when he's trying to feed Tina, and Tina won't eat the food, and you get him saying, "Eat the food, Tina," which is great. Another one is when Uncle Rico throws a steak and hits him in the face while he's riding his bike, and Pedro's on the back. And then my number 1 scene of all time, maybe in all these movies, is when Napoleon Dynamite is dancing at the talent show. I picture it and I laugh, and I think that's what you're supposed to do with comedy. So it's really, really good. My number 2 is, piggybacking on what Jackson did, is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. One of the reasons I like this so much is a family tradition. For our family, we watch it every Christmas, starting about 5 years ago, so it's a really great movie. But it's also one of those that never gets old. You see the comedy in each scene. A couple of my favorite ones, anytime Cousin Eddie's involved is great. One of the scenes is when he says the shitter's full when he's emptying his motorhome. Another one is when Clark opens up his bonus and figures out it's the Jelly of the Month Club, and Eddie says, "The gift that keeps on giving." And then finally, similar to what you said, was when Clark's boss gets kidnapped. I think it's hilarious. He comes over with a bow on his head because of what Clark had told Eddie. And again, this is all scenes with Eddie in it, so he's great in it. And so that's why National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is my number 2. What about you, Jackson? What's your number 2?
My number 2 comedy of all time is Elf, and my favorite. One of the reasons I like that is because we also watch Elf every year during Christmas time. And my favorite scene in Elf is when he goes to his dad's office, and his dad doesn't know who he is, and he sings his dad a song about how much he loves him, but his dad has no idea who's talking to him, and he tries to tell him he's his dad, but his dad doesn't believe him. I also like this movie because Will Ferrell is one of my favorite actors, and this movie is good because Elf tries to get his dad to like him the whole movie, and his dad thought he was weird.
Excuse me.
His dad thought he was weird the whole time, and Buddy the Elf was eating when another one of my favorite scenes is when Buddy the Elf was drinking the Pepsi, and he chugged the whole thing and then burped for like 10 seconds after. And finally at the end, his dad they start getting closer, and his dad goes out and sings the song and saves Christmas. And I thought it was funny when Will Ferrell at the end goes ice skating with a girl in the movie.
And what's your number 1? Bring it home.
My number 1 is Happy Gilmore. And one of the reasons I like that is because I like golf, and Adam Sandler is my favorite actor ever. And my favorite scene in this movie is either when Happy beats up the guy he's playing with in the tournament with the celebrities, or when he wins the tournament with the putt the chip or the putt that he hit off of all the things after he got hit by a car. And I like this movie because Adam Sandler is my favorite actor of all time, and golf is one of my favorite sports, and it's fun to watch, and I like it when Happy Gilmore crashes out.
All right.
What is your number 1?
Yep, my number 1 is Wedding Crashers. This goes back a long time. I think the movie is close to 20 years old, 20 plus years old. It's the only movie I can remember laughing out loud in the movie theater from pretty much start to finish. I think Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson are great in it. A few of my favorite scenes in this movie, one would be the so-called touch football game they were supposed to have, when Vince Vaughn gets the crap kicked out of him by Claire's I think it would be her fiance at the time. The other one is when the sister is a stage 5 clinger to Vince Vaughn. And then finally, probably the best scene of all is when John, which is Owen Wilson, and Jeremy, who is Vince Vaughn, are talking on the stairs after they just had dinner. And Jeremy had an experience under the table that got him frustrated. And then John had an experience in the bedroom with Claire's mom that they were talking about and discussing about, and just the back and forth and the banter in that scene was fantastic, and one that we recite and I can laugh out loud every single time I watch that movie. So that is my 1 through 5 top 5 comedies of all time. So that's all we have for tonight. Jackson, you got anything to close in here?
Nope.
Fantastic. All right, well, thanks for tuning in again, and we will see you next time on 30 Gap. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jackson.
Have a good night.